Everything that I do is to give you glory. Everything that I do, I give you glory. Life wrapped in faith. Everything that I do is to give you glory.
Welcome to Life Wrapped in Faith, where real life stories are shared to highlight God's glory and the impact of His hands in our daily life. I'm your host, Biloko, and today, as you can see, I am not alone. I have my very first guest with me, Mr. Husband.
Hey,
How you going?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome to Life Wrapped in Faith.
Nice.
So excited to have you here. What do you think
excited
of
too.
Life Wrapped in Faith so far?
It's cool. It's dope. I'm loving every moment of it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
It makes me nervous, but it's okay.
So, in today's episode, we want to have a raw conversation, just me and my husband, about our journey. So, if you haven't watched my testimony yet, I encourage you to go back and watch it because this conversation will make sense after you watch our testimony. So, in our testimony, we unpacked, what we went through together. And today, we just want to go back and see how God got us through, because there was a promise within what we went through in Jeremiah 29 when God said that I have plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. And sometimes when we have this promise from God, we get excited, but obviously with promises, it comes slow and it's not always straight. So in today, really, we're going to unpack how we got there, how we made it through, right? Are you ready?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I want to start off with just a simple question, okay? Because obviously people don't really know you like I know you. So for those who do not know you, how can you describe yourself in 3 words?
Down to earth,
Down to earth.
maybe. Yeah.
Okay, that's 3, but I feel like that doesn't really give me what I'm looking for. Down to earth. Give me another 3 words. I don't want down to earth.
Right. I think, so I guess simple. I'm chilled.
Simple,
Those are
chilled.
words that I hear a lot.
Okay.
Chilled,
Definitely not from me.
yeah.
Yeah, so simple,
And
chilled,
serious, maybe.
and serious. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'll take that.
Yeah.
That. Okay. So how would you introduce yourself? Like, who are you? What do you do? And yeah.
Now, sure. So, Voyo Loco. So obviously, I'm
Wait,
your
how
husband.
did you say last name?
Loco,
Not Laco.
not loco. Not loco, it's loco.
Well, I'm always introducing myself
Yeah.
as Be Laco, and you're here saying Loco,
alright.
so I've been saying it wrong.
Well, it's okay. Loco, like it's because we hear it so many times when people
Yeah.
say it. It
Yeah.
becomes like a thing. Loco, you hear it. But yeah, so that's me from born in South Africa. And I work as sort of family and youth counselor. That's what I do.
Okay.
That's who I am. I'm also an artist. So yeah,
Okay. And what do you do for fun?
I hang out with my kids a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
for fun. That's
For
what I
fun.
do.
From your perspective, how do we come across each other?
So we met at Foot Locker. I used to work at Foot Locker in Swanston Street when I used to be there. I see this lady walk in a dark complexion. I usually refer to that because it's
Yeah.
the first thing that was quite striking. So like you had like a really dark complexion. So I was like, man, yeah, that was quite striking. So saw you, and I was like, yeah, I need to break some rules here at work to see if I can.
And what rules was that you broke?
You can't obviously you can't hit on customers. If I put it that way. But anyway, I was like, well, I wouldn't call it hitting on you, but I just went, hey, can we catch up for coffee? I think.
And I said no.
He said no. So obviously I have to be persistent.
You did.
Grab your phone, throw my number in. Please call me. We are having this coffee.
And we did end up having a coffee, did we? And the rest is history. Yeah. So that's how we met. We met at Foot Locker, and one thing that I always refer to is we started off as parents straight away. We met and we became parents. So we didn't really have a time to date. We didn't really have a time to get to know each other. We didn't even have a time to sit down and have a conversation. What did we want from life? Life just unpacked itself and life just happened. And because of how life happened to us, we had to face a lot of struggles to get where we are today. You know, I'm referring to obviously the pregnancy, where I got pregnant and we were not together at the time. I think we spent about 2.5 years. I just wanted to ask how you felt when I told you I was pregnant. When I shared my testimony, I talked about the struggles that I went through. Okay, obviously, as you know, I had someone who had left, and then I had you who you left, and it was just me. And not only was I struggling spiritually, because I was having a lot of attack around that season of my life, but I was also struggling with shame. I was also struggling with bullying online. A lot of people were bullying me online, and it was just a really dark stage of my life. And I did share all that on my testimony. But I want to know for you, when you left, what was that like for you?
Yeah, so what went through my mind, I'll start there, right? Initially, there was a moment when you told me, there was actually a moment of, like, I think I've mentioned this before, like, I had a message, like, I had a feeling of, don't worry. And then it disappeared quick. It sort of came and then it vanished.
Yeah.
But it was sort of like, I got a glimpse, like I usually go back to like my dad, So I kind of got a glimpse of like my dad and how he was with like me and my siblings and stuff, right? But that was like almost like a split second.
Yeah.
Like it came, I felt like, almost like, now you'll be okay. And then bang, it disappeared right away and then I panicked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting that happened straight away. I didn't panic immediately. I think the worry and the panic and like the chaos started once I started letting other people know.
Yeah.
Because once you told me, I was sort of like, I was so confused. I don't know how to act or how to feel.
Exactly.
Like, besides that quick second, after that I was like in like almost like a no man's land, like of feeling. I was just like, what do I do now? Okay, I can't tell my mom right away. So I'll tell the boys that I live with. Yeah, so I was living with like boxers at the time. And these guys, I feel like they made me panic, right? Because obviously they're just like, man, we're just all about our boxing. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't make a big deal out of it. They just kind of went, man, like, is she crazy? Like, they started
It's
saying,
funny how they blame the girl straight away. Is she crazy? Not, are you crazy?
Nah, right away. Like, it was sort of like, man, she's causing trouble, that. And then I feel like that's when I started taking on, and don't forget, these are the only guys around me at that time.
Yeah.
And these are guys that I look up to, and they're even older than me, in fact. So straight away, I'm like, okay, man. All right, I take that on. I take that energy on right away. Like, she's actually damn crazy. That's probably not even my kid.
Yeah.
It's not even sweet. So I'm like, get on the phone with my other boy. I'm already using that
energy.
Now, can you believe this, man?
Yeah.
So we're carrying on about this. And then he doesn't know how to act. Like, I kind of don't want to say his name, but he probably was like the calmest one out of all of them, actually. I think just because he's like, man, I don't know how to act about this. But he kind of just let me vent. And then it's like, and then kind of just said what I was saying, as your friends do.
Yeah. So in the part of my testimony, I talked about the best part of my testimony was how God brought you back into my life. Because obviously you left, you went to do your studies. I'm not going to use the word runner, so just did.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about left as in running away, but just left as in we were not together. But how did we reconcile? How do we come together and decide that we're going to be a family?
I think maybe a big part of it was like you there was just like a sense of not being like harassed or like pressured or like made to feel like, oh man, why did you take off,
Yeah.
when I fell pregnant. So I think maybe a big part of it is that, like, when I think about it now, I'm like, there was something about that that made me think, oh man, she's not crazy.
Yeah.
All right. She's not crazy. But that hit me later on. Yeah, sort of a bit later on. So just to clarify, it wasn't me leaving. It was a moment of, well, I'm not sure what this is. I've never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
So I need to get my life in order.
Yeah.
It's just an instinct that you have, right?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, if I'm gonna have a child, and even though I didn't really accept that it was, I wasn't 100% that, hey man, this could be my kid or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't 100%, but there was just this instinct of, well, now you need to get your shit together.
Yeah.
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 So I sort of went. That was the first thing. Finish what you started, so that you don't have any loose ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think during that time away, right, because it was a significant time away, I'd come back to Melbourne, I'd visit on holidays, I'd come back. And our interactions, I think, because you weren't like, so what are you doing over there? I wasn't being interrogated the whole time.
Because we were not together.
We weren't, yeah.
Yeah.
And
you had your life, I had my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just happened to be carrying your child and my child.
Sure.
Yeah.
But those moments that I had away made me think, and our interactions, they sort of made me think, man, wow, what type of girl is she? I was quite curious. What type of,
That was actually an advice that I was given by a friend, because obviously we live in a culture where when a woman falls pregnant and she's not with the guy, there's always this drama. We hear a lot about baby mama drama and baby daddy drama, where they're always arguing and there's always like issues, fights. And it's also like portrayed in movies. So you expect drama when something like this happens. And I remember a friend telling me, because growing up I was crazy. You met me as a crazy girl. A friend of mine telling me, hey, B, just make sure you don't play the whole baby drama role. Make sure you don't keep the child away from him. Make sure you don't deny him access to his kid. Make sure you're cool. Make sure he's involved. So that advice really changed me. That advice really helped me see things from different perspective. Because I remember I did attempt to be that crazy baby mama. Remember there was a time you went out with Jay was a baby. You came home late. I told you to come at a certain time. You came home late and I was like yelling at you. And I think that's when she gave me that advice to like, things are going to turn wrong if you start off this as fighting. And I think that was just a wisdom from God that came from a friend to approach this situation differently, not to fight, not to argue a lot, and not to stop you from seeing your son. And even within our families, because our culture differences. Do you want to just talk a little bit about how the differences of our culture also kind of didn't quite allow you to see your kid, but yet I went against that? Do you remember a bit of?
Yeah, well, I guess, sure, obviously being like a sort of African lady that comes from a sort of straight Christian family, you have those standards of like, you gotta, make up for the damage that you've caused. You have to atone for that. So if you don't do that, then you can't just expect to have access to your newborn. It creates that environment where things can go wrong. In both our cultures, that there is that element. But I think I was too immature to even think of stuff like that. Me at that point, like what, 22, 23?
Yeah,
I was not even thinking of stuff like that. In my mind, I was just, well, I have to go see my son. I didn't even think, oh yeah, by the way, she's got her dad who's got these standards and who has these like boundaries. You can't just come in and do whatever you want.
Would you say that we kind of went against our culture?
Yeah, we did.
We did?
We did, anyway.
In many ways. And that actually helped us connect later on in life. Because I feel like if we stayed with all the restrictions, if we followed all the restrictions, maybe it would have made you resent me. Maybe it would have made me resent you, and maybe there wouldn't be reconciliation at the end. Because I know for sure where I come from, when you get someone pregnant, you have to pay for damages. If you're not going to marry them straight away, you have to pay for damages before you're allowed to see your son.
Couldn't afford it.
You could. At the time, you couldn't afford it, right? And also, it didn't quite make sense to you why you weren't allowed to see your child, you know? And so I went behind my parents' back, allowed you to come over and see the kids when they were at work.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I think it's moments like that where I was like, man, there was something cool. I couldn't put words to it.
Yeah.
But it felt, and you got to remember, like, I'd never been in like a serious relationship or a relationship that had ups and downs or whatever. I'd never been in a situation like that. But there was something like that felt, that sense of adventure, or, you know, like, oh man, it felt great.
Yeah.
Even though I probably didn't express it, but I felt free, in a situation that's like high pressure and high, like, there's a lot going on, you know, like,
I think it was also love that we had for Jay that kind of made the situation easy. It wasn't a situation where we felt like tensed or, I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly didn't feel that much, and maybe that was the key. Like, even my brother back home in South Africa, when I kept telling him about you, and I remember like showing him photos of you that I will not, I won't share here, but he was looking at me like, so then why are you not with her? Like, if you're saying all these things about her and showing me, like, you know, you seem like there's a light, it's something like that. He said something like, she seems to make you like alive or something like that. So why are you not with her? I couldn't explain to him. I was like, look, man, I actually don't know her much. And I think that was another turning point when I was in South Africa, because it sort of, that trip to South Africa happened during the 2 years that I was coming back and forth.
Yes, you went to South Africa and I had gone to Europe. Yeah, so we're sort of away from each other. I guess we were kind of thinking, is this really what we want to do? Yeah.
Like, which was interesting for me now, right? Just from a guy's perspective, like a guy who's 23, being in South Africa, and you've got, you know, it's like you're back home, and there's all these like girls and whatever. And so I think from just a guy's perspective, there was a moment of, you could easily just go, well, I don't actually care because I've got, you know, options or whatever you want to call it. But I didn't feel that when I was at home.
Yeah.
I actually did. I was, man, like, I kept, not to say I kept thinking about you.
Yes, you did. Because you kept texting. I was overseas. And what are you doing now?
No, but I kept being asked by not even just my brothers, but family that came. So you've got a son coming, and so, you've got a son back home. When is he coming home? When is he coming home? And it quickly switched to like the mom. So when are you bringing umakoti back home? So like, when are you bringing us, like, hey, umakoti? Now I had to start explaining to my aunts, like.
So makoti is a bride.
Makoti is a bride. It's a conversation I couldn't be like, I sort of just went, I kind of laughed it off. It's like, umakoti, yeah. But those were turning points as well. I was at home, but didn't feel the need to like move on.
You came back, so early 2014, you came back and we realized that we didn't really have an opportunity to sit and date and decide what we wanted to do. And then when we finally thought, okay, let's do this properly, I felt pregnant again. So it was like every time we were trying to get to know each other, something was like,
sure,
a pregnancy will come to the picture. And
that second one didn't make me panic as much as the first one.
I feel like it didn't make us resent each other, because it put us in a position where we felt like we were actually trying to fix the first situation. Why are we now back into square one? Do you know what I mean? Because we have to remember that you had your dreams, you had your goals.
Just reminded me of something. Actually.
Yeah.
So, that resentment came, which is interesting that it sort of creeped in again, right?
Yeah.
because we're like having this moment of like freedom, or like, hey, we're starting to almost get to know each other, and then this happens again. And yeah, okay, right away, I think within myself, my
Yeah.
own thought process was, man, we're back to square one. Like, why is this happening again? And I think it's a blame thing. Yeah, actually, that's what I
Yeah.
was trying to say. Then that blame part comes where, like, as a young man, you don't take responsibility sometimes. Things that you're creating, you're so. I was, and not in many areas of my life, but there were moments where I'm like, well, man, I've got things that I want to do. Why is this? Why are you doing that? It's not why are we
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
situation?
that's actually really a
Yeah,
valid point. I want to touch on that a little bit because usually when something like this happened, it's so easy to blame the girl. Like, you tricked me into this, you wanted to have a child, as if, well, in my situation, as if I didn't have goals for my life, as if
yeah,
I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life because you made this whole thing about me stopping your life, me preventing you from reaching your dreams and your goals.
yeah,
And I think in that position, I was just like, I've got this kid on the way. I can't focus on my goals and what I need. I need to focus on this child while you were trying to focus on what you were doing. And I just want to touch on a little bit on, like, really, because this is just a raw and honest conversation. One of the biggest challenges that we faced was acceptance of
yeah,
our life, like accepting this is where we are right now and this is what's happening. Even though I could see God's hand in everything, like I didn't see it then, I can see it now, but it was really hard for us to accept that this is what God is giving
yeah.
us.
It's predestined.
Yeah,
Like now that, okay, obviously at 40 years old now, like hindsight. So, well, every time I look back at this, right, like even when I was going through like counseling school and doing like all this reflective stuff on things that have like blocked me, or because you're trying to find parts of yourself that like what do you like that hold you back. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So when I was unpacking that during my studies, like I came across this book before even that, the Way of the Wild Heart, or
yeah,
Wild at Heart. It breaks down like the stages of a man's life. So there's the boy stage, the son, yeah, I guess like son. There's the cowboy stage, then there's the warrior stage, the king, and then there's the sage. Yeah, I think there's more than four. But anyway, so the cowboy stage was like when you're like sort of that late teens, 20s. I mean, a lot of the times these phases like cross, they intersect.
yeah,
So during that time, right, we could say that's the cowboy phase, right, where you like not really taking responsibility. You're like kind of living wild. You're,
yeah,
with your boys. It's all about your boys and your friends and your missions and all the stuff you want to get. And that happened during that phase of
yeah,
my life, right? So then, so you get so selfish as a guy in that phase. It literally is all about, I'm on this mission. I don't want anyone to get in my path, in my way. And
yeah,
so you forget that, hey, you've got a girl who's pregnant with your child. You don't even think of that. You're just thinking of like, oh,
your
I've got these
goals.
things, and they're like above, apparently they're above someone else's goals as
Yeah,
well, right? Or someone else's dreams and stuff. So there's that phase, and it can get destructive where you, yeah, selfishly do things.
yeah. I want to move to a different stage when we decided that this is it. Okay.
Sure.
So we had Jane and we had another child, and then we're like, okay, now we have two kids. We
Sure.
can't really say we're not together because we were kind of seeing each other here and there. And then we started now having pressures from our family for marriage, because I feel like when we got married, we were not really ready. But because we had a newborn, our family were like, no, you guys are playing games. And so would you say that we got married out of pressure?
Yeah, to a degree. But let me say this just to get there, yeah?
Yeah.
To get to that answer. It just touches a little bit on the stuff we were talking about before. Unfortunately, I didn't have like solid male. Like my dad obviously had passed on. Like I know for sure if my dad was like alive, like I wouldn't have reacted like that. Like I just know it, just because I
Yeah.
know the sort of person he was, the things that he'd do with me and tell me. And I feel like that's usually a critical point in a guy's life is having like solid guys or a male or a dad
My mentors
who's gonna
around.
say, "Man, why are you stressing about this?"
Yeah.
Dad was there, be like,
Why?
"Did she look nice? Does she pray? So why are you complaining?"
Yeah.
He would have just made it like easy, and I probably would have just jumped on board in terms of taking my responsibility on right away.
Yeah.
And also the guys that I was hanging out with, no one had kids.
Exactly,
I was the
yeah.
first one to have a child.
A child, yeah.
So even in that conversation of like marriage and pressure, I feel like I didn't handle that well because it was something that was coming from another male, kind of putting pressure on me. And at that point of my life, I was sort of like, you resist, but also you don't want to cause too much of like chaos.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's good. All right. So we covered our story, how we met. We covered the challenges that we faced and how we sort of overcame it. Knowing everything that you've known, like you said, it took a while for you to get where you are now.
Yeah.
What advice would you give, like, someone who's going through a similar situation that we went through? Like, let's say, got someone pregnant and, he doesn't know what to do.
Like straight away go to like the oldest guy who's got kids right away.
Just make sure they're wise as well and they faith-based.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't even have faith-based people around you.
True, yeah.
But luckily, just throughout the journey, luckily God sent me a friend who had like a daughter as well. We
Yeah.
were friends for a very tight period, so that helped me get through a lot of stuff when I had a friendship like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the advice I'd give.
Yeah, so having people
Just
around
have
them.
like guys that have families or what advice would you give?
What advice would I give? I think, I don't know.
Okay, let me make it a bit more specific. Like, what
Yeah.
advice would you give about forgiving someone who's potentially like emotionally abused you, right? Oh, maybe that's too
That's
much.
hard.
Nah, that's too much. Okay, next time.
No, that's okay.
Next time. Don't worry about that. But hey,
That's healing. That takes time to heal. I think also like advice that I'll give really what helped me become like who I am now is just surrounding myself with the right people, and I know I always talk about prayer, but that really helped because I remember having a friend who got married around the same time we got married and her marriage was falling apart. And she told me the difference between you and I is that you have people praying for your marriage. I don't have anyone praying for my marriage. So she's now divorced. And I think having people around me that were prayerful in the times that we're going together, especially when I say that I was now being remembered of all the things that you did to me and I wanted now to resent and I wanted now to pay back. It was those prayers that helped me come out of it, So yeah, I'll just advise someone else to also have people around them to to help them in that season because you can't go through that alone. You need your community, you need your people. Yeah. So thank you, Vuyo Loco, not Loco, for joining me today.
sweet. Nah, thanks.
And thank you for allowing me to share this part of our story. I know it's private, but I know that you also understand the importance of sharing stories and our testimonies, and that's what Life Wrapped in Faith is all about. And I believe that our stories will help others because we're not the only one who are going through this. There are people who have already gone through this and there are people who will go through this. And we just pray that they will get something out of this. Yeah. So
Awesome.
Thank you for watching us. Thank you for
you.
joining today again. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ask us questions. If you want to know more about Mr. Vuyo Loco, not Loco, let me know and we'll bring him back. Thank you for joining.
Thank-
Life wrapped in faith.